Mr. LaBelle? Here. Mr. Stepnick has stepped down. Myself, Mr. Barone here. Mr. Smith? Here. Ms. Hickey? Here. Mr. Finazzo? Here. And then we have a new liaison from the trustees, and that Mrs. Hornberger, she's not here. And also Jacob Tizik is not here. And for tonight, I'll be the acting chairman. Our current or last chairman had stepped down, so we're going to do some voting tonight. So for today, it'll be me. Someone who approved the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda. Second. Support.
Okay, we have a support and we have a approval. Let's move on to the petition. Petition number 2025-1 Versus Development Group. Someone from Versus here to speak?
Is that better? All right, good. Yep, my name is Reed Cooksey with Stonefield Engineering Design. I've got Joe Paluzzi as well with Veris. I'm here to go through our application for our two variance requests. The first variance request that we are looking at is for an encroachment in the side yard setback. Due to the nature of our zone, we are adjacent to multifamily residential, which does require a 50-foot side yard setback. We only have 110 feet of frontage, so our hardship, as indicated, is strict adherence to the setbacks of our property create an undevelopable area as shown on the plans. No matter which way we orient the building, we couldn't fit it. The other variance in which we are seeking relief from is the major screening requirements. This includes a 10-foot parking and landscape setback along the residential line, as well as a masonry wall along that property line. The reason for this is a multitude of items. One, in speaking with the neighbors and in adhering to the existing conditions of the site, we wanted to keep a more natural buffer. In doing this, we do have quite a bit of green space in the rear. We didn't feel extending a brick wall all the way around was appropriate when additional landscaping and screening via landscaping was a better use. And then more importantly, with our encroachment into the landscape there, we do have a bypass lane. This is used not only for customers, but also for life safety to allow adequate circulation of the site from a fire truck and EMS standpoint. This is necessary because of the narrow site we have. We don't have the ability to have a compliant turnaround on the site due to the size, and so we do need full circulation. And as you see, we have the narrowest drive aisles that we could, and only one row of parking, and we still have to encroach in that setback there. So. Those are our hardships, and there's additional criteria that we've listed on the application. But we appreciate your time, and we look forward to bringing this development to Chesterfield Township.
Okay, thank you. From now, I'll bring it up to the board. No, it's no. No, I think we'll go. I guess we're kind of winging this because like I said, this actually is my first meeting to run a meeting, so I'm trying to follow our outline.
No problem.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this? If you would like to step down, and if there's someone else in the audience that'd like to speak other than petitioner, just go up, name and address.
There we go. Hi, my name is Ron Gorney.
I live on 34862 Billary K in the Wellington Estates. My direct backyard will be the Starbucks. Obviously, this is disappointing on many levels for not only me, but neighbors of mine in the subdivision. I'm sure everyone appreciates in the summertime around here, we got the water and we got our backyard to enjoy with our families and everything. And now, in July, in the middle of July heat, I get a wonderful dumpster. And for every single vehicle that pulls off a 23-mile road, their headlights will be pointing directly into my kitchen and living room, which everyone spends about 80% of their time when they're in their home, especially when they're entertaining. I'm trying to have a family dinner, doing a family puzzle, watching a family movie, and I get headlights that are be going directly into my door wall. They're very proud of every 45 seconds they can turn more customers. Obviously, that's the big concern right there. And now all of a sudden, we don't want to do the wall. We don't want to do anything to demote any sort of just kind of continue to go into the privacy of my home. Obviously, this is probably one of the biggest things for me, meaning it is my direct backyard. So obviously, I'm a little more upset than most people would be about it. But the unfortunate part about it is with this kind of establishment, as everyone knows, it's all times of the day. Early in the morning, during the day, late in the evening. I'm not a coffee guy, sorry, so you're not gonna get my business there either, but a lot of people do enjoy their coffee at all times. I got kids, 3 boys, one in elementary, one in middle school, one in high school. Getting up and going to bed is very important to maintain a regimen, a schedule. Obviously, this is going to affect it. So, unfortunately, I wasn't able to win the battle of them moving down somewhere there was no housing, 23 in Sass, down by the freeway. We got the Checkers, you build that down. They decided that their best location was here. Now they found the spot isn't big enough for them. So obviously we're going to move more into even closer to our residents. I'm just asking and more, begging the board to be my voice, to please stand up. I am a citizen. I'm the one you're supposed to be protecting. And you can ask me, well, who are you? You're just a guy. Yeah, I am. I'm also a football coach. Not only do I heating and cooling as my full-time job, I donate all my extra time into coaching the youth from 5 years old to 13 years old, youth tackle football. And I teach them the importance of togetherness, teamwork, hard work, and community. This is what I preach to my children. This is what I preach to my football players. And instead of getting a thank you, I get a business in my backyard. But I do it because I love it and I enjoy it. And unfortunately, this is out of my hands now. There's nothing I could really do, but I was definitely, obviously, I needed to be here just to state my concerns. And I really hope that all of you will side on your citizens and your residents and what's in their best interest. Because I'm sure if this was in your backyard, you'd be feeling the same way I am right now. And I'd hope that you would stand up for me and be my voice. Obviously, they want to save as much money as they can and make as much money as they can. That's what's important to them. This community is most important to me. So I hope you stand behind me on that one. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Again, name and address clearly so we can get it on transposed.
Jason Armstrong, I'm at 51260 Brushford Drive, direct neighbor to the left of Mr. Gorney over here. And I just kind of want to echo what he said about the business going in. It's never ideal when something like this happens, but now they're asking to have these ordinances waived as far as the fence goes, as well as, from what I'm reading, they want to try and move the property closer to our backyards. Now, my backyard actually runs into his backyard, And I'm assuming I'm probably gonna get some of those headlights, all the noise, the dumpsters, when the trucks come in. Currently, you know, dealing with Harbor Oaks, which I understand was New Baltimore, but Harbor Oaks is directly behind me as well. And in the mornings and the nights, I'm dealing with noise from there already. Putting this in is gonna increase the traffic, increase the noise. 23 Mile Road also is probably gonna be backed up, I'm sure. I'm not sure what the plans are for that, but my thing is these ordinances are in place for a reason, and I'm just wondering why we're gonna just get rid of them for this business. Again, you know, the fence will help, I think, a little bit, and, you know, I just not sure why we're trying to waive these ordinances right now, so. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, James Locke, Sutton Road. Some of you know me, some of you don't. I am totally against all these changes to our ordinances that are going on in this township. I mean, they're there for a reason. When these people come to Township Hall, they get the paperwork, they know what our ordinances are, what's expected of it. Before they buy the property, they can see whether it fits or not. You know? I'm not against coffee. I love coffee. In fact, I go to Starbucks quite often. But I can give you 2 other locations that are the right size and a better spot. Down there at 23 and Sass. On either side of Sass, on the north side of 23. And you got a traffic light there. You can enter off of 23, you can enter off of Sass, and you got a light. People stop, see your sign there, pull in for coffee.
If you could
Be a better
address,
place than
if
this.
you could address us as opposed to the petitioner, that'd be much
Pardon?
more address that to us as opposed to
yes.
addressing it to them.
I'm sorry, I should be addressing you. You know, this township is growing, and it's growing fast, and everybody's having problems with it growing fast and the way it's growing. And it's the job of boards and that to see that things are done right and proper, and for the people of this township, not for businesses coming in. You don't work for them, you're here for us. The board needs to look at that and remember, it's for the township, not just building for tax dollars and that, not just building to have another coffee shop. It's for the people of this township. I thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'll close the public and move it up to our board members to discuss. Ms. Hickey, we'll start with you. We'll discuss it, and then I'll give you another opportunity to come back up at the end. We won't make a vote until we give you another chance to speak. Yep.
Can I ask a question?
Sorry. If she may have questions for you, so if you could stand there, if she's got a question for you, she'll ask it now.
I actually have a couple questions for you two gentlemen. Am I allowed to ask them questions or just the petitioner?
Sure, if you want to, you'll have to go back up to the mic.
Okay. So one of the variances that is being petitioned is to waive the masonry wall or landscaping requirement in the rear.
Yes.
If we were to not waive that and they would have to abide by that, would that help with the headlights going into the living room and the kitchen?
Yes, it would. Now, our houses are built up a little bit, so they do stand up a little higher. So depending on how they decide to do the entranceway, if it is a ramp going up into the premises, obviously it's gonna go in our house regardless. But if they were to make it more of a level as they turn into it, the wall would help not only immensely for the headlights, but for the noise as well, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we currently have a wall directly behind us. Like I said, we have Harbor Oaks directly behind us. They did put up a wall, and they actually put up pine trees as well, which are gonna grow tall eventually, which is, you know, at least they did that, so.
Okay, thank you very much for that. No further questions.
Mr. LaBelle?
Thank you, Mr. Temporary Chair. If the applicant would please come up to the podium again, Bo. This is what I'd like to do. What's stopping us from putting in a 4-foot high berm on the back of the property and coming up the sides for a period and then putting landscape on top of that 10-foot wide berm by 4 feet tall? What's stopping us from happening? Is it water runoff? Is there something back there that's stopping you from doing that?
So, again, with one of the design elements here is the rear of the site is where our stormwater management above-ground basin is. We are proposing 4 trees right along our curb line back there to help with the headlights. Then we have 155 feet from the edge of our circulation to the property line, and then even farther to the houses. One thing I did want to correct is we're not moving the site closer to your homes than what was proposed. I was discussing the property to the encroachment to the property to the west of us, which is along 23 Mile, which is a 10-foot buffer. We are over 155 feet from your house, and the building itself is over 400 feet from your property line, and that's 500 feet from the house. So we're not shifting anything closer to your house. So I did want to clarify that. And then in lieu of putting up the wall, we decided that it was probably more benefit is the rear of that site is actually landscaped and has pretty mature trees. We are keeping those and putting our basin back there and then planting additional trees right along our curb line to provide that buffer as opposed to tearing the trees out in order to put the wall. And if we did a berm as well, so we would have to tear the trees out, as we do have about 8 or 9 really good sized trees in that along the property there, which we are not touching. So that's kind of what's going on in the rear of the site.
Are any of those trees protected, or are they just a common tree?
I'm not sure the species, but I do know that they're fairly mature array of deciduous trees.
So back to my question, what's stopping you from putting a berm back there and putting plantings on top of a berm and moving your catch basin up?
The required size and then the ultimate invert that we'd have to connect to. We can't dig the pond deeper due to the existing invert within 23 Mile that we have to discharge to.
Well, I'm not opposed to granting the variance, but again, as these gentlemen have spoke, I do want something. I want something in the back of the property. I want a berm. I want some kind of plantings on top of the berm to mitigate the issue of lights going into the property. Because it's not only that. On the west side of the property, you have it's zoned multifamily, which
Yes.
we're going to get to in a little bit here. And you need to work with us on this.
Absolutely, and if a berm with trees planting on top is what they want, that is something we can provide. Again, we believed that keeping the existing mature trees was a better option, but if a 4-foot berm with evergreens on top of it is something that the residents would prefer, I don't believe that we'd have any issue providing that.
For clarity
Please,
purposes,
please address the
and
board.
Mr. Lavelle is on our planning board here in Chesterfield. So that, in essence, that's where that's gonna end up. We're not here to approve your site plan.
Yeah, understood.
So that's where that would lead to. If we were to approve it, then it would go to them, and it would be up to them at that point.
Yeah,
to
we've
set
actually already
that
gotten
vote,
our
set
site
that.
plan in and use approved here. Mr. Lavelle was part of those meetings. This is our. one of
Right,
the
I just, for
conditions.
clarity purposes for the
Yeah.
room as well.
Understood.
That's his expertise on the board, he's our liaison from the planning department.
Yeah, and that's something we would provide. Again, is really, that's what we felt, keeping it as close to what they experience now with the existing trees was a better use than a 6-foot brick wall and tearing it out.
Okay. Mr. Chair, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smith?
I have no questions.
Mr. Finazzo?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with the type of, I don't know what kind of trees are in the back. We know in the wintertime, leaves go off the trees. I've been out here for 30 years, police officer for 28 years. I just think there should be some type of barrier between them so the headlights, I just drove the site tonight just to see what it looks like. I drove the parking lot, Harbor Oaks, the whole bit. If that something goes back to planning and they're willing to, I like the business concept because 23 mile and Grass, or 23 mile 94, the Starbucks there, traffic hazard, people pulling out on the 23, parked on 23. This alleviates some of it, but I'm for agreement with the homeowners there. There's got to be a better barrier between them. And I tried to look up on the site plan. Where's the trash removal? Is that in the back of the property where they got to hear it get picked up? Or
That's closer to the building. There's
okay,
parking
that's
and
another
stuff.
concern. I was thinking, where's the trash bin going to be, in the back or front?
The
If
trash
it's
pickup
close-
would be about, 250,
So it's not gonna be in the front?
250, 300 feet away from
Okay,
their
it's not gonna be in the back of the property
line.
where they, at 6 o'clock in the morning, they're gonna hear, just look at it. I know, believe me, I got a gas station going down the street from me. I get it. But we know when we move out here, growth is gonna come and it's gonna be tough, but, I'm dealing with a gas station, some other stuff going on in my area. So I get your point, but I think if we could try to mitigate some of your problems, and I think a berm and a wall would do well. I agree with that. Thanks. That's it.
And if I may, I don't know the species of trees, but just for the sake of when I say mature trees, we're talking a 22-inch tree, a 14-inch, a 17-inch, a 12-inch. These are all in the rear that we're keeping. They're very large trees, that we did feel was more appropriate to keep than any other screening. But again, we are willing to work with you and provide a berm with deciduous trees, evergreen trees along it, if that's more appropriate to the board.
Okay, we're gonna move on to, item B. And, we'll start with Mr. Finazzo this time, if he's got questions in regards to 20-25-02.
And that's for the west side of the building.
That's the rear side yard setback.
Yeah, I have no problems with that west side not having anything because that's another zone.
Mr. Smith
I have no questions.
and Mr. LaBelle.
You're referring to item B on our agenda this evening?
Correct.
I personally don't have any issue with it. They are putting landscaping along that edge. Have you had contact with the owner of that piece of property? It's currently zoned multifamily residential. I don't know how they'd ever build anything on that piece of property.
We agree. We've had conversations with them extensively. We do know that a few years ago, somebody tried to develop both of the properties as commercial, and that was shot down. That's why we're staying limited to just what we have. If he ever wanted to come and develop it multifamily, we'd obviously work with him, and he found our encroachment into the side and the lack of screening acceptable. He didn't want a wall just sitting down that property line. He didn't think it was beneficial to him either.
Okay, so you did have conversation with
Yeah.
him. He doesn't feel that this would impact he is actively trying to he's actively trying to sell that piece of property. He doesn't feel that it's going to impact the sale of his property?
No, mainly because he also would have being residential next to commercial, he also has a large green belt that he needs to implement. So combined together is the idea that, we would have it.
And that's my thought, with the setback of a building,
Yeah.
the setback from the property line, I don't know how we could.
Yeah.
But, it is an irregularly shaped property, and I think that's why Culver's was looking at that piece of property, is because, there was a way that they could fit their building in there.
Yeah,
But
Culver's has a
since-
much wider building.
Yeah.
Their footprint wouldn't work on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've since pulled, and
Yeah.
they're not doing anything. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
And lastly, Ms. Hickey.
No further questions.
Okay, I think you've answered all our questions here. We'll take it to the board to give us a yay or a nay or a motion, one way or the other.
I'd like to make a motion to decline petition 2025-01, based on the lack of practical difficulty and unnecessary hardship.
For which one, A or B?
A. 2025-01.
Do I have support? Do we have any other motions?
Oh, I just got a question for her. Is that word, you're just asking for them because of the berm in the back and the wall, that's why you're denying it? If we okay it, does it go back to planning, the planning, and they could make them, or they decide to put the wall up, or?
So from what I'm understanding, they're asking to have that ordinance waived. So if I'm declining that, I'm saying I don't want it waived. I want them to have to abide by that ordinance. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
But
You were saying you want to turn down their petition is
yeah.
what you're asking for.
we should probably include that they're going to require a berm, landscaping back there.
So by,
in the motion.
okay, so as part of the motion, that would be requiring them to have the berm or masonry wall.
Now, again, I would say that does this go back to out of our jurisdiction when it comes to planning? I'm going to ask you as the planning expert.
We've already approved the site, we've already approved the elevations of the building, and I believe that the motion was given that once they've got their variances from ZBA, they can move forward. Is the building department okay with that? We've
Gary's the
approved-
building
we-
official here in
We've
Chesterfield.
already,
I'm gonna
correct me if
answer
I'm
this
wrong, we've already approved the site. We've already approved the building elevations, but it was contingent upon them coming in front of ZBA for these two variances in order to move forward.
Correct.
And if building doesn't have an issue with that, then they can go to, they'd have to redo their drawings to reflect what was just asked, and then it would be an administrative function for them to make sure that they've done that.
That is correct.
I'm going to say I'm not quite sure I actually understand what's happening, just to be completely honest with you.
So
I've been on this board a long time. This is a new one.
Is it a motion to approve with the condition that we add a berm or a wall along the north property line? I'm just asking because that provision applies to both the north and the west property line, as well as our 10-foot buffer yard along the west, which we are encroaching into because of the bypass lane. So I just want to,
So my intention, and maybe Rick can help me word it properly, yes, is I would like there to be a berm or some sort of buffer.
gotcha. But you are comfortable with us encroaching into the 10-foot setback along the west property line?
Well, that's a separate petition.
That is a separate
Oh,
item.
I thought that was for this second one was for the 50-foot encroachment. Yeah, I'm talking
Which
about
is
the
the
10.
side setback.
Yeah, but I'm talking, there's also a 10-foot parking setback along that property line that's part of the major screening requirements.
The 10-foot on the west.
And I can understand what he's asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
The major screening requirements has like
What
5
has to
things that
happen
we're
is,
dealing with here.
we're allowing them to move forward with their property, to move forward with their construction. You're giving them a variance for not only the backside of the property, we're up against these gentlemen's houses, but also on the west side of the property where it abuts a multifamily situation.
Right.
That was the conversation. So what you would do is you would approve item A contingent upon or including a landscape buffer on the
Rear.
What,
rear of the
north?
property, which would be north?
It's the north
On the north side
property.
of the property. And then giving them a variance for no buffer on the west side of the property.
That sounds, yes, that sounds more
Okay.
adequate.
Okay?
Major screening requirements on the northwest side variance. Got it.
So I would start that over, Ms. Hickey, and we'll go from there.
All right, take 2. I would like to make a motion to approve petition 2025-01 with the contingency on the north side of the, north property line, that a earthen berm or masonry wall be constructed with the granting of the variance on the west side of the property.
Sounded good to me.
I'll support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Now we'll move on to item B, 2025-02, also looking for a motion to approve or deny.
I'll do it. I'll make a motion in ZBA petition 2025-02 to grant a 20.5-foot reduction in the required yard setback on the west, from the west property line for parcel 0914-400-046, due to practical difficulty of the narrowness of the lot.
Do I have support? Let's take it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Jason, is it Jason? Jason? What's your?
Let's move on to old business, which I don't believe there is any.
Hope we got your wall. Well, that's why I'm saying trees ain't gonna do anything.
We're gonna move on. Yep. Yep. We're gonna move on to our new business, which is gonna be to appoint our new officers. And if anyone has like to nominate anyone for any of the available positions, which could be either one or two positions, which one is gonna be the chairman, and then if somebody moves from their position, there'll be an additional vote.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to nominate Mr. William Smith as a chair for the Zoning Board of Appeals.
I will second and support that. We'll take a vote to approve. All in favor? Aye. Nay? No one? And Mr. Smith will now become the Chesterfield ZBA chairman. Thank you. With his position being the secretary, we'll need an additional vote to appoint a secretary and to move on to the end of this term. And would like to have anyone do a nomination.
I would like to nominate Samantha Hickey as secretary of the ZBA.
I will support. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you. Now we'll move on to any additional public comments. No public comments? Anyone like to make a motion to adjourn? Oh, yeah. Why is that not on my list? Not on my list. Oh, I missed it. I skipped it. I'm sorry. We're going to do approval of the minutes from ZBA meeting August 28th, 2024.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the ZBA meeting August 28th, 2024.
And do we have support?
I'll support.
Supported by Mr. LaBelle. Minutes have been approved. Now we'll move to adjourn. I'll make a motion to adjourn.